Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Subcommittee of Ag and Natural Resources, it's called Companion Animals. Here we are. We are convening ourselves today, and we're glad you're in the audience, and we welcome your participation. I will ask my committee members to introduce themselves. Go ahead, Senator.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Stella Pekarsky. I represent Western Fairfax County, and that is Senate District 36.
Good afternoon. I'm Senator Barbara Favola, and my newly drawn Senate district is now completely contained within Arlington County. I used to represent parts of Fairfax and Loudoun as well, but now I just have Arlington.
Wow, you one area senators, you. I'm jealous already. I'm Senator Bill Stanley, the 7th Senate District. That would be Franklin County, Henry County, City of Martinsville, Floyd County, Carroll County, Patrick County, Wythe County, City of Galax, part of West Virginia. I think I got them. I hope I didn't miss one, and I apologize if I did. But I've been a quasi member of this committee for about as long as it's been. I've been in function, and now I'm on the right side of the dais. So I'm very proud that I got appointed and proud to serve with y'all. Thank you.
I just note Senator Stanley's to my left. At least on this issue, he's right there with me. if not bringing me along.
Bold strategy.
Bold strategy.
Bold strategy.
Okay, the first patron who is not a committee member is Senator DeStef, and I was hoping he would be here, but he's on his way. Okay, Senator Stanley, I'm going to ask you then to present your two bills. And I guess we're starting with Senate Bill 31.
Whatever the committee's pleasure.
All right, we'll start with Senate Bill 31.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, including myself, Senate Bill 31 is, of course, in response to, we have an epidemic right now. I just pulled the latest statistics for last year, 229,000 animals in our shelters and receiving centers and releasing agencies. We have had an epidemic of dogs and cats, and it's usually being left at these shelters, abandoned, turned back in by owners. It's taxing our localities. It's increasing our euthanasia rates. It's creating a real problem. And I've done a lot of research on this area, and what I see is that what we're having is a low spay-neuter rate, and especially in our lower income brackets, based on affordability and access. And I've talked to a lot of the releasing agencies, and so I went back through some of my bills that I'd created before, and kind of make me choke up a little bit. But Deborah Griggs, who passed away this year, was a great champion for companion animals, and this was one of her biggest ones of the ideas that we had. And as I was digging through the files, I had notes from her and emails about what we could do. And what this does is it creates a surgical fund where rather than trying to seek money out in the budget, which would mean it would die, this bill has always been shown to be shown favorably in the Committee on Agriculture. It's always been a matter of money. And so when Deborah and I were looking at this in the years back, she came upon the idea of a tonnage tax. That would be, and it's not even a tax, it's just a fee of $50 per ton. Most dog and cat food is sold by the pound. And this would be, in this regard, you know, as we tax gas at the rack, this would be a fee at the rack, and it would only be to manufacturers. And in fact, we have a couple line amendments that can be explained.
Go ahead, Senator.
You want to know you?
Number one on line 318, introduced after manufacturer, strike the comma, insert or. Number two.
Insert after, on line 318, after comma, insert.
Or.
Fourth, got it.
And then line 318, after wholesaler, strike comma or distributor.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, what this, and tell me if I'm wrong, and I think this is our intent, we're trying to keep it to where the distributor is not actually paying the fee. A lot of this by the tonnage is a cost and expense that can be absorbed by the manufacturer. And so I think that's where it needs to be. and not at the distribution level. And so what this does is it allows a creation of a fund. The state will collect the money in the sterilization program. There will be then allocations made to allow those people, and it's almost like a scholarship program, but to allow sterilization services and those costs to be paid for certain people that qualify based on their lack of ability to pay or their economic circumstances. So what this really tries to do is address what we're having the issue with, which is overpopulation of our animals and those showing up in our pounds and being euthanized, which is horrible. I wish we would be a kill-free state. I don't think we can get there yet. But this is one way to control the population that is humane, and it also will allow the pressure to come off our releasing agencies and our pounds with all of these dogs and nowhere to go. And that's what we're trying to solve here, Madam Chair and member of the committee. And that's the bill.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Stanley. Do you have any commenters or either pro or con? I would like to hear those who support the bill first, and I would ask you to keep your comments to 2 minutes or less. Thank you. And then we'll hear from those who oppose the bill.
Good afternoon. My name is Heidi Meinzer, and I'm here on behalf of the Virginia Federation of Humane Societies and Senator Pekarsky also on behalf of Homeward Trails, which is up in your district. We are strongly in support of this. I had the privilege of stepping in after Deborah Griggs as president of the Federation. I have since rolled off the board with a term limit, but it was a pleasure to work with Deborah on this before. And back then, we weren't in this crisis. The senator is correct. We, through the pandemic, you will hear a lot of this, the access to veterinary care and what a crisis that we are in. And there are many of solutions that are going to be proposed that we are more than excited to get behind. But this will directly impact and help those who are lower income. And we have that even up in Arlington and Fairfax and Alexandria, where I am. We strongly support this bill, and we ask for your thumbs up.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Senator Favola and members of the committee. My name is Tabitha Treelor. I'm the Director of Communications for the Richmond SPCA. We also strongly support this bill and are so grateful to Senator Stanley for introducing it. The deficit of spay-neuter that followed the COVID-19 pandemic, the animals who were not sterilized during the initial shutdown, that has continue to snowball, and the population growth that is really affecting shelters and communities around the Commonwealth. And this would be a great step toward providing lower income individuals the means to have these surgeries done that are so vital. And we hope that you will move to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, David Bailey, on behalf of Alley Cat Allies, and for all the reasons you've heard, we too thank Senator Stanley and encourage you to report the bill to the full committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Senator Favola, Senator Pekarsky. My name is Daphne Nakminovich. I represent People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, which is based in Norfolk. Our organization runs 4 mobile spay-neuter units that have sterilized more than 250,000 dogs, cats, and rabbits since 2001. And we're one of the only games in town that does that for free or low cost. And what we're seeing now is an increase in demand for services from people who cannot afford it. This will put a very small tax on year-wise. So the average cost to spay a dog at a private vet ranges between $250 and $600. And the total per ton, given what an animal, a cat, would eat in a year, is $1.80 to $3.60 in pet food taxes per cat and $10 to $20 in pet food tax per dog. So we think that's a worthwhile investment. There are so many people in the Commonwealth who struggle to provide veterinary care. And as Senator Stanley said, spaying and neutering is really it's such an important way for us to combat animal overpopulation and homelessness. And it doesn't just address the population of animals who hit our shelters, our public and private animal shelters, but also animals suffering on the street, animals who are abandoned, and animals who are given away indiscriminately. So anything to combat that overpopulation crisis is certainly most welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I will now ask if there's anybody in the audience who opposes this bill. Okay, I will move to our virtual platform. Do we have any speakers on? Oh, right, it's a subcommittee. Okay.
Madam Chair, first, may I say, I miss those guys a lot. Missed you all. You've been great. It's good to see you again. We need to do something here about it.
Okay, well, yes, thank you. Okay, a line amendment was offered. I need a motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adopting the line amendment as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the amended bill is before us. We heard comment and we heard presentation. I don't have any questions. Okay.
No questions.
I would like a motion on how to dispose of this, what should we say to our parent committee?
That's me.
That's you.
I move that we move
Recommend.
it forward. Yeah, recommend forward.
I
Motion.
second that motion.
Okay, motion is that we recommend this bill be reported, and we will make that recommendation to our parent committee. And it's been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that passes unanimously.
I noticed Senator DeSteph is here. Should I yield?
Well, Senator DeSteph, are you under a time commitment, or may Senator Stanley continue with his second bill?
If he wants to continue, I can go up and take a quick picture, then come back.
Why don't you go ahead and do that?
I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
And I support his bills emphatically. Especially when it comes to animals.
Thank you. Thank you. I move to report his bill.
You recommend that we should recommend and all that this be reported. Okay, Senator Stanley, Senate Bill 93.
Madam Chair, this is a bill, again, when Deborah passed, as melancholy as I was about it, I went back and saw some of the great initiatives that we did but may have not gotten across the finish line. And one of those that was really important to the Virginia Federation of Humane Societies, and we've refined it over the time, was to create, through Senate Bill 93, an animal cruelty conviction list. But back then, in the years that we presented it, and Deborah supported it, SB 32, and it was another iteration, SB 191, actually it was a list that would have been maintained by the state police. And everyone seemed to think, even the law enforcement seemed to think that that was a good idea, because those people, as law enforcement had testified previously, who feloniously harm, maim, injure, and kill animals, tend to do the same things to human beings. And having a list like that, a database like that, provided something to law enforcement as well. But as Ms. Griggs pointed out, this bill serves an important goal, Senate Bill 93, because animal shelters and rescues are required by law to obtain statements from directors, operator staff, and animal caregivers that they have not been convicted of animal cruelty. This bill gives the shelters and rescues the ability to easily verify that and verify the veracity of those statements. They can use the list to check backgrounds of potential adopters. And the public will also be able to use this list to check the background of pet sitters, dog walkers, kennel and daycare attendees, trainers, and even those who are in the private breeding business to be able to access that.
And I have a question. In the Child Protective Service arena, they do a what we would call a comprehensive evaluation, and they do look at some court records and some civil records as well of prospective foster parents or adoptive parents. Would this registry be available?
I would think that might be. So the way I've crafted this is try to avoid a fiscal impact statement.
I see.
As I've allowed localities, counties, and cities to basically create their own list using law enforcement to maintain that list and also to interface with other counties. So it doesn't mandate it, because if it mandates it, then it has a fiscal impact.
I
If it has a
understand.
fiscal impact, that's what happened last time is the state police came in, last time is they came in and said, well, we need 2 more employees. We need a website that's going to cost
Right,
$50,000.
right.
And they had Madam Chair, almost a $500,000 price tag on it. And what, I've heard since then, and especially from breeders and of course our releasing agency and the rescues, is that kind of list would help them, especially now that we're having such an onslaught, a glut of dogs at these shelters. Sometimes in the drive to find permanent loving homes for them, they're not able to do the background checks in this way. And this also allows our county authorities to work with our rescue and adopters, our releasing agencies, to absolutely kind of go hand in glove together, where they're making sure that, if these dogs are to be adopted, they're not going into the wrong hands. There's a bill that is, of course, circulating, and you may hear from others, you may know that says if you have been convicted of a very serious crime against a companion animal, you cannot adopt dogs. I wonder where that is or where it came from. But here, I've written this, and Deborah Griggs wrote, this too, that we were targeting the convictions of the most heinous types of animal abuse, felony violations of cruelty, animal fighting, and killing or injuring police animals. That is the only it's public information anyway. What we're doing is distilling it down. So as a lawyer, if I go to Franklin County, there's a whole list. I got to search by name. But if this is distilled down and the county maintains that record, let's say the sheriff's department maintains that record, I can go to that website if I'm a releasing agency and check and make sure that somebody that I'm trying to hire, or if I'm a dog owner, a dog sitter, they've not been convicted of these heinous crimes.
So, Senator Stanley, I'm going to rephrase my question, just
Sure.
so, for clarity purposes, since I have to give a report on this. There's nothing in this bill that precludes an agency from accessing this information.
Madam Chair, I'd answer you by saying no. There's nothing that precludes it.
So if a locality is really thorough, Child Protective Services could access it in the locality.
Madam Chair, that's exactly right. Because it would be publicly available.
It's publicly available. If you're going to hire a teacher, the school system could access it. I mean, I just want to be clear. These are questions that are going to come up.
Yes, Madam Chair, that's exactly,
Okay.
correct.
It won't be the only piece of information a prospective employer is using, but this is a piece of information that would be publicly available.
Madam Chair, that's exactly correct. And the cost would be borne by the locality, and it's not mandatory, it's permissive. What we would try to do is encourage that, and then also the localities to interface between each other so they could share that information perhaps on a larger platform.
Now I'm going to have one other question,
Yes, Madam
which is
Chair.
likely to come up. I'm just trying to think of all the issues. Are we going to be asked about any violation of privacy or anything along the lines of perhaps it should be excluded from some hands?
Madam Chair, I would answer you by saying absolutely not, because this is public information. One would think if there was a juvenile conviction of something like that, the juvenile courts hide, they do not disclose those to the public generally. And so that would probably be the one instance where I would see, but I would think that the courts would not release that. It would say an 11-year-old was,
Right.
maimed a dog.
Right.
That would be held within the juvenile court and certainly disposed of. But if there's a conviction, and it's not a charge.
It's a conviction.
It's a conviction. Then that's public information. It's just how do you get to it? This makes it an easy area where, if the county is wanting to do this, that the county, its citizens, other agencies, and anyone else can look and make sure that who they're dealing with is reputable and not been convicted of harming, maiming, killing a
I
dog.
have one other question.
I love your questions. I can
Yeah,
be here
I
all
bet
day.
you do. This type of information, is it treated the same way as other information that would be available if somebody were convicted of the similar crime? And I will direct that to General Counsel for the moment.
Senator, I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to get back with you before the next full meeting.
I just think that would be useful information to have as we debate this on the floor, because I'm pretty sure, knowing my colleagues, something like that will come up.
Madam Chair, I'd only, and maybe I'm hitting around the target area for you, but the list only includes publicly available information, like I said, name of offender, offense of conviction, date and jurisdiction of the conviction.
Right. I just want to know if it's parallel to something else, to other information that would be available under the same situation, under the same condition, if there was a conviction.
Madam Chair, I'd only say that other than what I kind of just said, which is a large database of people's
Right.
names that,
Right.
when you go on the court systems, you can go to, say, Franklin County Circuit Court, and you can look it up, you can't look up the conviction, but you can start in the A's and you try to type in the name and you get to the
Right.
person's name.
Got
and
it.
you see what they've been convicted of.
Okay, well, I'll let general counsel get back to us on that. So I'm trying to help you, so I actually will have answers when questions come up.
I appreciate it, Madam Chair. Very
Okay, do you have any speakers on this bill? And if you do, I would like those who are in favor to come first and speak no longer than 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I'm Sharon Adams, Virginia Alliance for Animal Shelters, and I'm going to date myself. When we wrote the felony cruelty bill in 1999, we tried to get a list as part of that bill. So 25 years we've been trying to get a bill. I will tell you also that I met with the Crime Commission during one of these iterations of bills and talked to a data analyst there who was very clear to me this was not as complicated and expensive a process as we have been led to believe. So obviously we support this bill. We support a statewide database. We think it's entirely doable. So we support the bill. Thank you, Senator Stanley.
Mr. Bailey?
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, Alley-Cat Allies also supports the bill. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Senator Pekarsky, hello again. I'm Daphne with PETA, and we also support the bill. I'll echo Sharon's comments. Thank you.
Okay.
And in honor of Ms. Griggs, the Federation is in support of this bill as well.
Okay. As usual, you have your
Posse.
yes, you have your fans
And I'm buying dinner
lined
tonight,
up.
all right? So.
Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition to the bill or wishes to raise questions? Please come forward. None. Okay. Okay. The motion, the bill is before us. I still am going to have additional questions because I do think this is going to raise a robust conversation.
Sure. Anything worth it is.
Anything worth doing is worth talking
That's right.
about.
I recommend that this bill be reported.
Right.
Second.
That's perfect. Okay. Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the clerk, this too passed unanimously. There were no amendments.
Member of the committee.
Okay, so Mr. DeSteff is not back, so I will go ahead and discuss my bill. And you guys are great. You're going to chair.
There you go. There you go.
3 days into
There you go. Come on over. You can do it.
Let's see.
You'll get
Feels
comfy
good.
in it
That
all
was
of a
fun.
sudden, exactly, right? She's
I don't
driving.
actually know what to do, so you'll just tell me.
Good afternoon, and I am discussing Senate Bill 11. There are a few line amendments, and I would go ahead and ask General Counsel to read the line amendments and then ask that you adopt the amendments.
On line 77, after addition, strike the remainder of line 77, all of line 78, and through the on line 79, insert, comma, a violation of any prohibition or restriction imposed by the sentencing court pursuant to this subsection is a Class 1 misdemeanor, and all animals under the court's order shall be seized and forfeited. The Amendment number 2, line 80, after animal, insert or equine.
I ask that the amendments be adopted. You adopt them.
I'm
Aye.
accepting them. Okay.
Okay.
Accepted.
Okay, let me just get here. Madam Chair, what this bill does is it provides the courts with an option to impose a lifetime ban on the ownership of any animal if someone is convicted of a felony animal cruelty, or for up to 5 years if the person is convicted of a misdemeanor. So it's giving judges additional tools in the toolbox. I just think it's important to note and to reiterate a point that Senator Stanley made. Folks that really torture or are cruel to animals, and this would be a felony conviction, have a lot of issues, and you don't want them having a second opportunity to harm an animal. And that's the purpose of this. It is not a mandated restriction. It is allowing the judge to ban for life if a judge so chooses. Right now, the courts are limited to a maximum of a 5-year ban for a felony or a 1-year ban for a misdemeanor. This provides a longer period of time. That's the bill. I think it's very worthwhile, and I would encourage the committee to support the bill. Okay.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone in favor of speaking?
I do have a speaker who happens to be my aide. I don't know.
Wonderful. Yeah, have her come up. We'll go ahead and have 2 minutes of comments as well.
I was full disclosure.
Again, Heidi Meinzer on behalf of the Virginia Federation of Humane Societies. Many thanks to Senator Favola for bringing this bill. I think it may have gotten caught up in very needed social justice reform and as an unintended consequence. And, many of the folks who have these convictions will recidivate, will harm humans, and this is a really important step. 5 years isn't even the lifetime of most of our companion animals, and we really thank the Senator for taking this very important step.
Members of the committee, Tabitha Treelor again for the Richmond SPCA. We also support this bill. I do know that there were a number of animal control officers who had hoped to be here, but because of the late scheduling, they weren't able to. The most important thing about this bill is enabling judicial discretion to impose a longer ban. A 1-year ban, a 5-year ban is not lengthy enough in many of these most egregious cases. Many times you have hoarding cases that have a mental illness component, where someone is having hundreds of animals. Giving the judge discretion in those cases is just vitally important, and we do hope that you will move to report. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Sharon Adams, Virginia Alliance for Animal Shelters. We obviously support this bill. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, ACNR Allies supports the bill too. Thank you.
Good afternoon again. Thank you to Senator Favola for introducing this bill. I wanted to also share with you that at least 39 other states restrict the possession of animals for a length of time after a cruelty to animals conviction. Some of them specifically allow for a lifetime possession ban. And many times these violent crimes occur in front of children. So I did want to point out to members of the subcommittee that this would protect not just animals, but also families and little children who learn cruelty to animals just by virtue of how they spend their childhood. So we do urge you to move to report, and thanks again to Senator Favola for introducing this bill. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, Senators. Holly Hazard representing the Virginia Federation. I just wanted to reiterate that this is an option for judges and is up to a lifetime ban. It is not necessarily a lifetime ban. And also that this bill came to the Senator from prosecutors with real-life cases wherein they felt that they had their hands tied when they convicted someone of felony animal cruelty, and then knew that they could only give them a year ban, for example, when there had been horrific situations for animals involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition to the bill? No? Any questions from the committee? Comments?
None.
All right. I need a motion.
I recommend we move to report this wonderful bill.
I second that. Everyone in favor? Everybody?
Aye.
Aye. So, thank you.
Madam Chair, members of this esteemed subcommittee, I'm here presenting Senate Bill 266, Animal Control Officer Training today. So
a little bit of background. In 2021, to be exact, July 1st, the minimum requirement for basic training standards for an animal control officer went from 92 hours to 120 hours. The 15-hour continuing education requirement has been in effect since 1999. Nearly all of the animal-related codes since 1999 have expanded since they've come into existence, such as dangerous, vicious dogs, animal cruelty, animal abandonment, care of companion animals. Animal control officers in Virginia must keep up with ever-changing and improving laws, technologies, tasks, enforcement, etc., required by a modern animal control officer. So every 3 years, additional training approved by the state veterinarian is currently 15 hours. The request of the Virginia Animal Control Association is to increase that to 24 hours of training. Now, you may ask, what kind of training are we talking about? We're talking about CIT training, trailer driving training. CIT training is 40 credit units or 40 hours. Trailer driving training, 4 hours. Other department-related training, FTO officer, field training officer training, 40 hours. Weapons training, 8 hours. So all of the training they go to can actually, with the police department that's already mandatory, like their annual recalls and things like that, are already part of the training requirements for this. So they don't see it as a difficulty to increase that. Multiple jurisdictions have called in support: Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Richmond, Spotsylvania County, Campbell County, Staunton, Suffolk, Augusta, Shenandoah, Powhatan, Dinwiddie, and I believe Chesapeake, but I can't swear to Chesapeake because I may have missed it when they were giving me the entire list of folks who were in support of it. I was also contacted in the hall by, I think it was Roanoke or somewhere over there on that side of the state that said they're in support of this. So we've had a lot of individuals in support of this. Now, there's one group with Sharon Adams who will be speaking today who thinks that we should only go from 15 to 18. Hey, if that's what the committee wants, happy to do that. But I just want to show that it's super easy for the animal control officers to meet the minimum training requirement of 24. And I will tell you, after talking to the president and a few board members of the Animal Control Association and one of the supervisors of the Animal Control Association Supervisors Association, I believe that's it, it's a bunch of letters, but they said that already in part of their duty while they're working with the police force, they already meet or exceed a majority of this. Keep in mind it's every 3 years. So in 3 years, if you just go the minimum of your weapons qualification or recertification, that's 24 hours right there. And then they're required to go through a bunch of the legal training, which brings them up above that. So they just wanted to put this out. And again, these are the groups that have called in support or are in support or were there in the crafting this fine bill. Happy to answer any questions as detailed as possible, or not. And I hope I've answered any questions before you've even come up with them.
This is a very simple bill. I think it's in very good shape. So,
Madam Chair, thank you.
Yeah. The 24 hours, is it more of the same, or are you expecting the curriculum to be more robust or more enhanced or covering different issues?
Well, what they like, Madam Chair, if I may, they want the individuals who are the animal control officers to go to things like the CIT training courses, because let's face it, if there's an incident that's involved with an animal, 9 times out of 10, there's other type of things that individual's in crisis over. So that helps them de-escalate it. So they actually recommend that they go to this. And again, that would handle the training for more than a year. Throw on top of that your annual recertification for your weapon, taser, weapon. They have new technology, new tools that come out all the time, and they go through training on that. What they want to do with this bill is give other opportunities for folks to put in and truly catalog the training they're going to. Now, there was a suggestion of whether they do some of this via online. And we've had the Animal Control Association individuals that I've talked to said there is a ton of online training they can actually do as well via video, but things like firearms training, CIT, a portion of that is online. Their weapons training is not. Trailer driving training, of course, is not online, but there are a lot of other courses that they do have online for the training to meet this minimum of 24 hours or 8 hours per year, 24 hours in 3 years. Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair.
No worries here, but I'm expecting that there will be some central location where there's a list of the types of training that would be accepted under this additional training. So there would be a menu, if you will, of different classes that can be taken to add up to the 24 hours.
Madam Chair, if I may, it's all kinds of training. I just gave you 6 easy examples, but annually they have the different, at their conferences, they have the different new chemicals to spray and all that. All of that counts toward their CEUs as well. So there's a plethora of available training, both online, in person, and some of it is required by the police departments already, at least 8 hours with the weapons refresher trainings.
And this is my last question, and this is in addition to the standard training, the required sort of core training.
Madam Chair, yes, the core training has already gone into effect in July 1st of 2021 from 92 hours to 120 hours. This is just the continuing education
That's how I'm reading
units.
this. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Madam Chair, I'm glad that it just switched back so you're not twins anymore. We had the 2 name tags the exact same for a while.
Oh, lovely.
I should have taken a picture.
We didn't know that. Okay, Senator DeStef, thank you for your presentation, and thank you for your indulgence of my questions. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of this bill, please come forward. And again, keep your comments to 2 minutes or less.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, I'm Kathy Bircher on behalf of the City of Richmond. Christy Chips Peters, who is with Richmond Animal Control, Care and Control, wanted to ensure that we were here to talk about her support and Richmond's support for this legislation. As the Senator said, there are many free options, both online and other hours that would qualify, and the 15-hour continuing requirement has been in effect since 1999, and she really believes, as does the City of Richmond, that it should be increased, and we're grateful to the Senator for bringing the bill forward.
Okay. In effect since...
Hi, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. Cassidy Taylor on behalf of the City of Suffolk, and we support this bill. And just to piggyback off of Senator Steff, all of the free trainings and all of the trainings are on the state veterinarian's website. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. That was nice to...
Madam Chair, if I could clarify real quick. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of free training available for these individuals. I just want to make sure I clarify that.
They can register and somebody will know whether or not they've actually taken the training.
Madam Chair, yes. And as a matter of fact, there's a form that they fill out that gets certified, stamped, and sent to the departments.
Okay, thank you.
Heidi Meinzer on behalf of the Virginia Federation of Humane Societies. We are strongly in support of the bill and the current number of hours. Our animal control officers have to face not only all the changing laws for companion animals, but they deal with wildlife, they deal with exotics, they deal with so many different issues. And on the issues for law enforcement, this marries what I do in my day job, which is representing police officers and police unions. They need to be able to use the equipment that they have in an emergency. They need a lot of training so that when the adrenaline spikes, when they're in the heat of the moment, they know exactly what to do. This training is crucial, and for that, we strongly encourage that this bill is reported and that it passes.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Tabitha Treelor here for the Richmond SPCA. We thank Senator DeStef for introducing this bill, and we favor this measure to help officers develop the knowledge and the skill set to enforce the laws that are enacted by this body. The laws that protect animals are only as strong as the enforcement officers are prepared to carry out in their local communities, and we hope that you will move to report. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, David Bailey on behalf of Alley-Cat Allies. Over the years, I've spoken on behalf of many organizations to try to increase the training, and I think this is very important for this group, and I encourage you to support the bill. Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon again, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, Daphne Nakminovich with PETA. I just wanted to share with you, of course, that the increase from 15 to 24 hours every 3 years just averages to 3 hours per year, and that a recent study conducted in partnership with the National Animal Care and Control Association on animal control officers' perspectives on community engagement found that many officers believe there is a need for more staff training, which includes hands-on training in the field, continued education, de-escalation classes, and training on the link between animal harm and human harm. And as my colleague said earlier, animal control officers are on the front line, and as Senator D. Steff said, 9 out of 10 times when there's a situation, there is not just the animal situation, there are many other often violent situations. So we do support the bill. We urge you to move to report it, and thank Senator DeSteff for introducing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, colleagues, the bill's in front of us.
Move to recommend report.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Oh, was there anybody in opposition? Oh, my apologies.
Sure, no problem. Good to see you. I'm the lone wolf here. I'm speaking against my good friend, Mr. DeSteff, Senator DeSteff, and VAC and others. The Virginia Alliance for Animal Shelters actually delivers training. We have for 14 years delivered 6 regional workshops: Loudoun, Henrico, Harrisonburg, Wytheville, Danville, and Chesapeake, and now Newport News. Our members believe in training. They want training. We do training. They want all the training they can get. But this bill has a local fiscal impact, if you'll look at the bill. We actually petitioned our folks to say, what do you think about this? To a person, they said, we love training. However, when you have 1.5 animal control officers in a county, and you're asking them to go to training to get 15 hours, it's hard enough. Ask VDACs about the extensions that have to be granted to animal control officers who don't have a training budget, who cannot make that happen. We offer 6 regional workshops so that nobody has to drive more than 2 hours, nobody has to pay a conference fee, nobody has to spend an overnight. And we do that because it's necessary. So certainly we have localities that have great training budgets, and there's wonderful training, and we are very familiar with it, and we want folks to get lots of training. But when you mandate a 60% increase in training, and that's what this is, you are also increasing the city's or the county's budget for that. We'd like to see if there's money going to feed animals and animal medical care. We believe in online training. We've been doing a lot of that for VDACs. We hope to be doing some more, but it's not a substitute for hands-on. And the fact that, yes, we increased the training, which we absolutely supported, the fundamental training. But in this case, and it's interesting, some of the names of folks, sorry. Anyway, that's our, yes, Senator.
Yeah, you can just finish your sentence.
I just simply want to say, please don't understand that we're opposed to training. We're not. What we're opposed to is a 60% increase in training hours that will have implications at places across the state that are already having a hard time meeting the current requirements. Thank you.
I understand.
Madam Chair, if I get 20 seconds
Senator
for
Steff.
just the last rebuttal. I wanted to confer with the folks who are working with the state vet, and they've verified that there are hundreds and hundreds of hours of free training available. And there's other required training of these officers that, like if they're using any chemicals, if they're using tasers, if they're using weapons, they already have to go through this much training every year required to carry a weapon. You've got to go through your research training. So this is already required, and there's so many free hours and such cool training you could do with the online videos through the state vet. It's pretty interesting and pretty cool. But I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for your indulgence, members of the committee. I appreciate you.
I guess, and I don't think there's anything prohibiting an individual from getting training through the Alliance for Animal Training. So that too would count towards this. So this is not an either or. This is everything.
Yes,
as
Madam
far as
Chair.
I can tell, everything would count. So your training would count.
Oh, our training, yes, ma'am, our training is CEU certified and we apply everything.
Right. So if this is, this is just a broad umbrella where your training, in fact, would count as.
Our training currently counts toward the 15 hours. We're talking about mandating an additional number of hours.
But it would also count towards that mandated additional hours.
If they can attend.
Yes, that's right. So I think it's a kumbaya moment, actually, unless I'm missing something. Okay. All right. Colleagues, I'll take a motion.
Motion to the floor.
Second?
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, that bill reports.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you so much for your time and your indulgence
Thank
today.
you.
Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Committee Room, C-311.